on that field today? Ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! And don't do that! And don't do that! When I step on the field, I send one message. And this is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. Let's hunt now. Let's go. Let's hunt. We ready. And let's go do that. And let's go do that. We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how like we the Miami Heat of football. Yap, 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 yap. The bottom line is you got to buckle up your chin strap. It's embarrassing. Yap, 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 yap. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from him. He's a man. They can be hit just like us. He's a man. You ought to make the big money. He's a man. Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's war out there. When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. Oh, my bad, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We ready. And let's go do that. And let's go do that. It's a wrap. Game over.
Man, I got to give the credit to DJ Stevie Porter for that mix right there. What time is it? Game time, game time. I know Chris Gardner's like, man, I came to talk, basketball, but that's my hype stuff right there, bro. I get hyped on that one. I get hyped, man.
I got no problem with that.
Baseball, soccer, tennis. What's that new sport that they're playing? What's the
pickleball?
Pickleball.
Yeah, pickleball.
Hold on, man. Get out the way, man. Let me do something right here. Hold on. Just get out the way. Move. Hold on. Let me do it right. Let me do it right. Bang, bang.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
I like it.
Did you warn her about me? Did you warn Kennetra about me? He didn't.
No. But she knows me, so she gets an idea of how it's gonna be. So
by association.
Yes.
Yeah, game, peep game, birds of a feather flock there. You name it. It's us. It's us. How you doing?
I'm doing well. And you guys, how y'all doing?
I'm doing great. I really am. I'm glad to see you, Kennetra.
Hold on. I look. I'm.
Yeah, you so hyped you can't even get. Yeah, see you lost focus.
I had to get her on, man. I didn't want to talk to you right there. I wanted to get her on.
As you should, ladies first.
We got a little bit of an echo. Is that on your side, Kennetra? Is that on your side?
It might be.
Can you turn your volume down just a little bit?
Yeah.
All right. From the Big 12 now, ESPN Plus, we've got the incomparable Miss Kennetra Pulliams. How are you, man?
Good day to guys. How are y'all?
Doing good. Kris, hush, man. Take that look off your face, man.
Oh man, I am glad that she's taking time to talk with us today, and hopefully this will be the first of many. So, folks, Keith Hennig and other people, get ready.
I'm ready. Kennetra, tell us a little bit about yourself for those who don't know you.
So, native Texan,
What
born and raised in San Antonio.
Okay.
Graduate of the University of Texas at Austin.
Okay.
Boo.
Chris, we've done this already.
Right. I know.
Hey, bro, put it out there. The number 2, number 3 team in college basketball right now, brother.
Only behind the Cougs.
That's right. Okay. Go Cougs. That's right.
And the football team has made a look. They've come to Jesus finally, and they're winning some games that they're not supposed to win. So
they're competitive. They're bowl eligible for the first time in 13 years. So, we'll find out on Sunday where KU will be playing. Not everyone. A lot of the fans are angling for the border war renewal of KU, Mizzou. Since Mizzou has gone to the SEC, they kind of haven't really been on the radar as much, kind of out of sight, out of mind. So, it will satisfy the fans to get that rivalry renewed, because it's happening in basketball.
Okay.
KU's going to Columbia next week. And it's the second of a 6-part series, if you will. Last year, the Tigers came to Allen Fieldhouse. This year, KU will go to Columbia to face the Tigers. So if they could get basketball and football, KU Mizzou, in the same month, I mean, there's your storyline right there.
Gotcha. We've got a very avid Mizzou fan that has tuned in recently. She played at Mizzou. She was a candidate for All-American, and she ended up losing it to Tamika Dixon, and they are arch rivals and best friends. But Erica Martin Cross is a huge Mizzou fan, and there she is. Look, hold on, let me put this up so I don't get jacked. But she is a huge Mizzou fan, and if you saw her, you wouldn't think that she is as ruthless as she is. She's got that Christian Laettner thing where she would step on her mother's neck if she had to get a layup in the winning basket. So yeah, say hi to Erica Martin Cross, please.
Hey, Erica, glad to have you on.
She is phenomenal. But let me ask you a question. Now, Kris, I'm gonna give it back to you, but I want to pull the scab off it real fast. Is Bill Self ever going to be held accountable?
I mean, depends who you ask. Who says he hasn't been held accountable? The fact that he had to sit out 4 games already this season.
Did you say 4 games or 4 seasons? What did you say?
4 games. There's been a reduction in scholarships. There were no official recruits at late night, kind of the tip-off to basketball season. There have been, he and Curtis Townsend, his lead assistant coach, did not go out on the road recruiting this past summer. So KU is kind of taking the steps to self-impose, no pun intended, penalties and punishment on themselves, hoping to show good faith towards the NCAA and the IARP that they are taking responsibility, ownership, and accountability for this ongoing, interminable investigation, that's going on into something that happened years ago that no players who are currently on the team were ever involved. They weren't even on the team then. So hopefully there's a resolution coming up soon.
Kennetra Pulliams joining us here on the Lunch Break Throwback Thursday. And just again, I wish Kris had warned you about me, because I heard everything that you said.
Okay.
And I don't want to order anything off the menu. KU fought the NCAA until they realized they could not win. And then all of a sudden, there was some contrition. There was some self-imposed things to try and get ahead of it. Other schools have done that in advance without fighting the NCAA and still got the hammer dropped on them. Why is KU different?
I don't know, because the thing is, the NCAA is not consistent with precedents or with how they met out punishment, if you will,
Agree.
or consequences. It's all over the place, and then that's kind of why KU's case has left the core of the NCAA's jurisdiction and has gone to the IARP, kind of an independent council to review. And so that's kind of where it stands. But right now, with the changing landscape of the NCAA, NIL deals, recruiting, COVID, we're still trying to figure out the long-term impacts of COVID and getting extra year of eligibility. So the NCAA is not the big bad wolf as it was. It's been weakened some. It's been humbled some. So as to what the NCAA, how it will look 5 years, 10 years from now, we don't know. With conference realignment, that's happening in the Big 12 coming up next season. So there's a lot of the landscape of college athletics is changing, and so the long arm of the NCAA law it's being weakened some. And so, KU fans they're beyond fed up. They're waiting, and they think it's past time they think the IARP dragging their feet on handing out punishment. Like, do what you're going to do. Hopefully, throw yourself on the mercy of the court. KU thinks they've done enough as far as punishing themselves. I mean, it's subjective to see what's going to happen, but the fact remains is that even under this gray cloud of the IARP and NCAA investigation, KU still went out and won a national championship last season.
Yeah. And that seems to be the cover that a lot of folks run to, that, well, look, they did all this stuff. Oh yeah, and they won a national championship. For me, one doesn't negate the other. I want
two things can be true at the same time.
At the same time, right. I want them to go after them like they went after Prairie View. I want them to go after them like they went after Jackson State before primetime got there. I want them to go after them like they went after Memphis under Penny Hardaway. I want them to go after them like they and I know a lot of people will listen to me and think that I'm making it a black and white thing. I'm not. I'm making it deal with everybody like you deal with somebody.
It kind of if you wanted frame of reference of Power 5 versus HBCU, if you will, you look at the investigation into North Carolina and the sham curriculum, if you will, and how everyone's like, you're just passing these athletes through, but then you come to find out like anybody could have signed up for these classes. So it just kind of, so what was the whole wag your finger? What was that about? Nothing, because nothing came out of it. So it's subjective and it's inconsistent. I mean, you look at Oklahoma State and what happened to them. That punishment was handed down immediately, right, and it was harsh. I mean, right. The fact that Mike Boynton, who had nothing to do with the recruiting violations and the pay for play and everything that was going on within the Oklahoma State program, he and his team were punished last season, no postseason whatsoever. Couldn't even participate in the Big 12 tournament on the off chance that they would win it, and they'd be the automatic qualifier for the NCAA tournament. So, like, all of a sudden, you're telling this team, back in the fall, there's really no reason for you guys to play because you're not going to any kind of postseason. So, like, what's the motivation for those guys in that program?
No, I agree with you. And it was the same thing happened to FAMU a couple of seasons ago before they came to the SWAC. They could not participate in the MEAC, and they literally dominated. They were like 9-1 that year and couldn't participate in anything postseason, couldn't participate in the FCS playoffs or anything. So, all right, I've done all my talking. I'm going to take a break. We're going to come back, and then we're going to let Kris Gardner from Houston Roundball Review ask some questions. It's Throwback Thursday on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of these folks right here, BS3. We'll be right back.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
There's a 100% chance of a laugh thunderstorm. Four men with different viewpoints take a movie, show, or documentary and review it uncensored, unfiltered, uncompromised, with no holds barred. Join BS3, Wilkes, King Doc, and H-Rap B as they take on Hollywood their own way. BS3 Network proudly presents The Forecast, where H-Rap B always predicts,
if I owe you something, I ain't got it. And if you need it, get it from God.
live every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
All right, we're back here on the lunch break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3 TV. If you got a Roku streaming device, just download BS3 TV, and we're changing the way you watch TV. Speaking of, big good afternoon to Mr. BS3, Ben Sutter III himself. Ms. Kennetra, I've got a text message concerning you. One of my interns said that they're from San Antonio. They want to know where you went to high school.
MacArthur.
You went to MacArthur. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah, this one said he went to, is it Eisenhower?
That's middle school. Eisenhower's middle school.
Okay. Yeah. I think he, it's spell check.
I was going to say Eisenhower Middle School probably feeds into Churchill.
Churchill. I know he went to Churchill. So, yeah, that was him. That was him. All right. Again, thank you for joining us on the show. Kris, I'm a hush.
You don't have to hush. This is your show. We're glad to be a part of it. I'm just going to give some backstory of how Kennetra and I met.
Let's get it. I'm interested. Did he bake cookies? Did he make you mac and cheese? Did he do any of that? Because
wait.
Did he sing?
Kris has culinary skills? I did not know.
See, there you go. See, now you put me on the spot.
I'm gonna store it away.
I know you will too. Yes, but that's okay because let's see how I can phrase this.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
No.
Give me grace. Give me grace. I'm old, Kris. I'm old. Give me grace, man.
No. Because she was in town when KU played the Cougars in football and ran over the Cougars in football, and I had no idea. So I didn't hear from her until after the fact at Big 12 that she was in town. And I was like, "Oh, you were in Houston for a football game?" No idea whatsoever. So, but
the time was not my own. I wasn't trying to be shady. Going
forward, since Houston will be joining the Big 12 next year, I think she and I will meet a few more times. So she will get some cookies. She can put in her request, and I might even throw in some mac and cheese there at some point too. So
okay. So what type of cookies are we talking?
Scratch, chocolate chip, pecan, oatmeal, raisin, snickerdoodles.
And other cookies, make your request known.
Snickerdoodle.
You got it. Ain't no problem. Ain't never a thing.
Mm-hmm. You can thank me later, Kennetra.
Good looking out.
Yeah, on live TV, Erica, Ben, C, Keith. You can see what I did with I bring family on the show. See how this is, but it's okay. But ironically, we did not meet face to face until October at the Big 12 basketball tip-off.
Okay.
But we were on a panel discussion last year.
Yeah,
had it been a year? Last season.
Last spring.
To discuss, I guess really the lack of African Americans in sports journalism as well as at the Big 12.
Yeah.
Because the person who works at Greg, who works at the NPR in Kansas City or in Kansas.
Yep, KCUR. Yep.
Thank you, ma'am. Approached me because he's at that time. I was there last year at the Big 12. I was the only one of us there. And Greg, because I think she had football and other responsibilities, whatever. But I was the only one there. And Greg approached me. It's like, he introduced himself to me, and I said, "Oh, okay." And he said he knew some folks and wondered how long I've been doing this, and he said, "Kris, hope not offended, but I'm noticing that you're the only African-American here." And I was like, "Yes, Greg, I guess I am." So he wanted to know about that because Bob Bowlesby, Commissioner Bowlesby, said 5 years ago with William C. Roden how he wanted to improve the number of African-American journalists in the Big 12 coverage. That was, well, not 6 years ago. And fast forward to 5 years ago, it was just me.
Wow.
Now, in October, Steven Johnson is now who covers TCU. So it's one more. I'm not in the Big 12 yet. So he's the one, and Kennetra at KU. Is that it?
I mean, there's a couple in local media here, in Kansas City. Harold Kuntz at the Fox station, Fox 4, and then Aaron Ladd at the KSHB, the NBC affiliate. But that's on the broadcast side. On the print side, nobody at the Kansas City Star, Topeka Capital Journal, Lawrence Journal World, Wichita Eagle. I don't think so. I don't think so, any of the newspapers within the state. And I mean, and that's just on the Kansas side. But
yeah, what's interesting is Kris and I experienced that here locally, where there are a couple of us on the print side. Mm-hmm. There are a couple of us on the broadcast side. For
at the Chronicle? Who's at the Chronicle?
No. Well, in I can't think of his name, with glasses. Been there forever. God, I can't think of his name. I'm drawing a blank on him now. But he's there. He's still there because I saw him at during training camp for the Texans. Okay. And they actually brought somebody else in to replace John McClain. That is a brother, younger brother. Okay. So they brought him in.
I mean, because I know, well, there is. I take it back.
Jerome Solomon.
Oh, yeah, Jerome. Yeah, Jerome's columnist. Yeah, Jerome
okay. Yeah, there's Tracy Allen, works for Kansas City Call, here in Kansas City. She's a K-State alum. But I know down in Austin, you have Danny Davis. Trying to think.
It's not a long list.
Cedric Golden.
Cedric's there, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So where I was going with that is representation matters, especially when you have, I'm just going to call it black head coaches or minority head coaches of your pro sports teams, like we have here in Houston. We've got, Lovie Smith, we've got Steven Silas, and of course we got Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker just won a whole doggone World Series without cheating. Yes, I said that, without cheating. Won a whole doggone World Series, and there's still people after the fact that want Dusty fired and are writing as if the man didn't win the second most number of games in franchise history and a whole doggone World Series. They want Steven Silas gone. They definitely want Lovie Smith gone. And I've said it, I'm a pastor, and Jesus would have had a hard time coming in and turning this franchise around with what they have on the roster in one season. Representation matters. People don't even realize that maybe they do. Maybe I'm being naive. They don't realize that they're writing their articles and presenting their topics in a way that's just biased as HELL.
I mean, and the thing is, it's not just the reporting of it. Lovie was not set up for success. If you don't give him the resources, the players, the roster, the infrastructure, just the whole team, the whole franchise, but yet you want him, if you want to get proverbial, turn wine out of water. I mean, come on, and then you want to blame him because he didn't do enough.
Right.
It wasn't David Culley's fault.
Right.
What did you give him?
Right. No, here's what you gave him. You said go win with Davis Mills, go win with Kyle Allen, and go win with Jeff Driscoll at quarterback, the most important position in the game, and go and win with a roster that has absolutely no Pro Bowlers on it, definitely no All Pros, and several guys who wouldn't even start for another team. Good luck.
Yeah. Right. And then you wonder, and then you want to disparage him, and when he gets fired, trying to get another head coaching job in the NFL, he couldn't cut it. He was a failure in Houston. He wasn't a failure. The franchise was.
Kennetra Pulliams joining us here on the lunch break. Throwback Thursday. We're powered by JM&E, streaming live on Roku TV, courtesy of BS3. She's with Big 12 Now and ESPN Plus. Very good friend and future receiver of Snickerdoodle cookies from Kris Gardner from Houston Roundball Review. I got to take this a little bit further. I was trying to figure out how I was going to work it in. Did you guys hear about the story down at Florida where the quarterback, son of
John Kitna's son,
was arrested, child pornography? I gotta pull this up. A local reporter reported the story as almost verbatim. The backup quarterback to and named the black starting quarterback was arrested for child pornography. That was his lead story. That was
John Kitna's son.
right?
Yeah.
And it was not until Twitter climbed in his that he deleted the tweet and then tried to put the name of Jalen Kitna as the person that was arrested. But my point is, until somebody said something, he thought that was perfectly fine, and several people under the tweet thought it was. I don't see any problem with. He is actually the backup quarterback too.
But that has nothing to do with his transgression. He will be John Kitna's son forever. He was John Kitna's son before he was ever the backup quarterback to whomever at Florida. So that has nothing to do with the other. Who is he? Who are his people? What's the name that he carries?
They tried to bury that. They literally, I can't put it any other way. Whether they did it on purpose or whether they did it unintentionally, they tried to bury the fact that he was the son of John Kitna and his name was Jalen Kitna, and he has been arrested for child pornography. Period. End of discussion. Nobody else's name needs to be involved unless they were accomplices to the crime, which is nasty, which has no place in society. None of the above. I don't want to hear he's 19, she was 17. Baby, listen, if it's against the law, again, adjudicate it like you would do.
And what state is that? The Law and Order state, right? Right?
Law.
I want to see if Mr. Law and Order himself, where he stands on this.
You already know.
Ahmed said, "You preaching, you telling it right, young lady."
You already know.
Yeah.
I mean, this is separate apart from that. I was listening to a story yesterday about in that state, a mother wanted to go in and teach or just have a lesson day about Hanukkah, something she's done for the past 5 years, but the school board wouldn't let her. And it was just kind of showing different religious traditions and just kind of expose, but because of these parental checks and balances now that who can determine curriculum and what no one is trying to indoctrinate these children. You just want to open their eyes to look, this is how we in our family celebrate this. We're not Christian. We don't celebrate Christmas. We're Jewish. We celebrate Hanukkah. And here are some of our traditions. And here are some of the things that we enjoy during this holiday season. But of course, that was struck down in that state.
Well, again, that's why Kennetra Pulliams, that's why Kris Gardner, that's why others, Willie Gibson, Andy Yanez, that's why you all matter, because wherever your outlet is, wherever your platform is, we've got to have some truth to power. We've got to have a voice that no matter how small or loud you think it is, we've got to hear it. We've got to hear it, because if we let, and I'm not going to say them as in some boogeyman, but if we let whatever the powers that be silence and be the only voices talking, be the only perspectives, be the only stories, be the only articles, we'll never get the truth.
Did y'all catch First Take this morning?
I did not. Kris?
I did not. No.
Okay, so Cliff Notes version. So Roland Martin was on First Take.
Okay.
Discussing the Jerry Jones picture from when he was 14 years old back in Little Rock. And so it was in response to LeBron James, who, bold Cowboys fan. And so LeBron's told everyone in that press conference, he's hold up, y'all want to ask me about everything else, Colin Kaepernick, Kyrie Irving, whatever, but you don't, why won't you ask me about my opinions or my thoughts of Jerry Jones in this picture and his non-admission words about his role in that picture 65 years ago. And so it wasn't necessarily a dig at Jerry Jones. It was at the media who selectively asked him about certain issues they deem are important. But why is it they're protecting Jerry Jones and this subject matter and not asking LeBron about that? And so Roland Martin, Houston native, Houston residents, talked about the fact that it's because of look at who is the demographic makeup of the media. And not just the reporters on the ground, but also, like we said, in the press box. What does that look like? In the newsrooms, who are your editors? Who are your news directors? Who are your general managers? So it's kind of parallel to that of professional sports. Until your owners and general managers look differently, and have different life experiences, then your head coaches aren't going. You're going to hire what you know and what's comfortable to you. So there's this whole flow chart from the top to the bottom that your reporters aren't going to, even though your subject, the people you're interviewing, people you cover, largely minority, but if your reporters and your photographers and then your editors and your producers and then your news directors, your VPs and your general managers, it's going to be the same whitewashing of this profession.
I followed that several of those threads, and it's one thing for the fan base to say, "Oh, well, it's only because you are in basketball. Kyrie Irving was in basketball. This is football." Again, I get it. Casual fans, even avid fans, sometimes don't understand the nuances of broadcast journalism, but it's the journalists that are making statements like that. It's the journalists that are posting pictures of Joe Biden when he made comments about segregation and desegregation. It's the journalists that are doing whataboutisms. And it's like, wait a minute, if you don't understand the difference, then your listening base is in trouble.
And that's the problem. And of course, we still get, well, y'all just, racism doesn't exist anymore. Y'all are just, why y'all keep relying on the black card? It's 2022. Oh, we need to move on, move past all this. What happened in London a few days ago? When the sister was, where are you from? No, really, where are you from?
Yeah, because you can't be from here. You black. You can't be from here.
And we took the military, the African American military in Poland.
One of Queen Camilla's courtiers wanted to play interrogation police.
Yes. But it's time. We need to move past it. But y'all refuse to look that it exists and accept that it exists and that it still goes on to this day. So that is why I asked Coach Kelvin Sampson the question about why he wore the racism shirt.
I want you to get to that.
After the game against Norfolk State.
Evocative of a statement. I kept looking at the shirt even before you asked the question. And then when you asked, I said, my God, that's my brother, right? Yeah. And then the answer was just compelling. So go ahead, Kris, share that with us.
Because he said during, and humble brag, it's available on my YouTube channel, Houston Roundball Review on YouTube, Instagram, everywhere else too. It's part of the annual, there's a racism game in college basketball. The coaches versus racism have a game. You're going to see it probably now in January for games. A coach and players, one I'm sure will be erase racism. Houston's game was this week against Norfolk State.
Yep, HBCU.
And if you haven't, again, seeing coach's comments about his love and appreciation for HBCUs, check that out. That's when they played TSU. But he wore the shirt after the game, press conference. I asked him, full disclosure, Coach Sampson is on the board of racism. I'm a committee member of it as well. But I also knew nobody else in the room was going to ask the question of, Coach, why are you wearing this shirt? So that's why I asked him the shirt. He gave a reason. And one part of the reason was because racism still exists.
Yeah.
And it's important to him that we discuss it and have conversation about it.
Yeah.
That's it in a nutshell.
Yep. one of the many things that I love about Coach Kelvin Sampson, and one of the many things that I appreciate about your being in those rooms, because you don't shy away from the responsibility. You don't allow yourself to think, oh God, they're going to roll their eyes if I ask these kind of questions. When you think about it that way, Kennetra yourself, Kris yourself, it makes what you do bigger than what you ever even imagined.
I'm doing it because it was shown to me to pay it forward. Okay, it's my responsibility to keep it going, to keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
And Coach Sampson, one of his comments, some folks are uncomfortable talking about racism.
Yeah.
Well, if you are uncomfortable, that's on you. Yeah. I'm going to ask you the questions about it. It's not my problem that you're uncomfortable. Yeah. Maybe the fact that you are uncomfortable says something about you.
And I mean, the question is, why are they uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah. That's important. That's an important, and that's where our society is today. We don't have those constructive dialogues that could get to some type of understanding. You don't always have to get to a resolution. Racism didn't start overnight. It's not going to get fixed overnight. Mm-hmm. But when you can have constructive dialogues where you at least get to a place of understanding, hey, I might not agree with you, but at least I understand better about why you feel that way. I don't like it when people say race card. It's not a game. Mm-hmm. When someone has died because of the color of her skin, that took game out of it. Let me hunt your ancestors down. Let me hunt you down because you're white. And let me kill you because you're white. And then you tell me how you feel when you hear race card. It's not a game. It's far much more than that. So I if I could just get some people to understand that, then we could take the next step into a healthy conversation.
I mean, because if you look at it, take away our professions, I'm still a Black woman.
Yeah, that part.
Mm-hmm. So, like, before I was a journalist, before I was a student, before I moved to Kansas City, I was a Black female.
Yeah.
That's who I am. That's who I'm going to always be.
Yeah, I've worked in radio for over 40 years and just retired from radio last March. And over that time, I had some opportunities to do some things. But one thing, I don't know where I got it from. I really don't. I can't say my grandfather sat me down and said, I looked at the hierarchy. I looked at what's going to happen when I am just Black, when I'm not the journalist, when I'm not the broadcaster, when I'm not the show host. When somebody says that Black man, da 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 da, and probably would have said it more, that Black boy, da 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 da. What's going to happen then? What's going to happen to my family when I have to move from Connecticut? What's going to happen to my son, who I was a single father at the time, when I've got to move from this area back to wherever I got to go? And guess what? I said no to a lot of things that most folks wouldn't even believe I had the opportunity to have, because guess what? At the end of the day, after it's all said and done, I'm a Black man. Mm-hmm. And some people will look at that before they look at my work.
Oh, full stop. Yeah. It's basically, you get judged by appearances. Yeah. Before you open your mouth to speak, before you present a media credential, before you show a driver's license, what do they see?
Yeah.
And I still get that, and I'm sure y'all do too, the look from some people when I walk into the press box or the media area, look at me like I don't belong there.
Yeah.
Here's my credential right here.
Bruh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know where I'm going. Do they realize that you might, or that we are the only ones?
Yeah.
It doesn't register to them. We know this.
Remember Masai Ujiri when he just tried to go down and celebrate with his team that had won the freaking national basketball championship. I mean, the NBA championship. And you got people like, you don't belong down here, and actually physically push him and say he pushed me. Yeah. All right, listen, I'm going to behave. Okay. All right. Kennetra, I'm putting you back on the spot.
Okay.
Big 12. How many Black basketball coaches in the Big 12? Men side?
Mike Boynton.
Mm-hmm.
Jerome Tang, mm-hmm. K-State.
Yep. Yeah, Tamika Dixon chiming in.
Oh my gosh.
That's it, right? Isn't that it?
That's it.
I think that's it. Yeah.
That's it. Hey, T.
On the women's side,
I was going to go there. I had to give some love to T because she don't jump in often, and I know Erica made that happen because we were talking about.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you to me. Yeah, I'm
but
sick.
Okay,
yeah.
So 2 on the men's side.
How
many on the women's side, Kennetra?
Because I'm not sure. No.
West Virginia.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
How many on the football side? But 6 years ago, the former commissioner of the division was trying to get more media coverage. The current commissioner is the commissioner over a group of athletic directors that now have never hired a black football coach.
Correct. Which is, let's see. I think he's going to address that. I can't put a timetable on it. Because I don't want to say soon and like happens, tomorrow, whatever. I think he's going to address that. But he's addressing the culture part of the Big 12 from an entertainment perspective. Okay, when he's trying to make them younger and hipper, go with me. Like if he's bringing Ashanti in to sing the national anthem at the Big 12. Okay,
is that like when Bill Self brought Snoop Dogg in and they was?
Oh no, that's because Commissioner Yormark, he's way up on the food chain than Bill Self is.
Okay.
But there's pushback because of the entertainment aspect of it, because of the Big 12. So just imagine what he's going to have to deal with to bring in. You want to hire who to coach where? So this is a long road. This is going to be a long haul because I've heard it just about from the entertainment perspective from media. Does he realize where he is? This ain't New York.
Yeah.
This is Big 12 country, man. Yeah. So small steps.
Yeah.
But with Kelvin Sampson joining and Houston joining the Big 12, there are still some folks who believe Kelvin Sampson is African American.
Yeah, I know.
Rather than Lumbee Native American.
Right.
So there will be some folks next year. What you mean? We got one right. You got a new one right here coming in.
Yeah.
Kelvin Sampson. Well, that's not the same. No.
Never mind that we just finished Native American Heritage Month, but okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah. It's like the people who tell me that Jim Irsay can't be racist because he hired Tony Dungy and Jim Caldwell. It's like, bruh, you know how old the Indianapolis Colts organization is? Even this version of them, because they went away. You mean the fact we won't celebrate? We got 2 in the history of the organization. I'm supposed to be happy about that. Do me a favor. Stop telling me what should make me happy and stop telling me what I shouldn't be upset about, because that ain't enough. That ain't enough. Since we got Tamika Dixon on here, Kennetra, what's it going to take to get more representation, head coach, athletic director wise, on the women's side?
I mean, KU just celebrated Marion Washington last weekend.
Who was her coach?
Exactly. So it was a great. They honored her at the basketball game, at the men's basketball game. She and her family, and then there was a legacy dinner, and so they're trying to strengthen that relationship with the trailblazer, that is Marion Washington, and what she represented. But it's going to take a lot, because the thing is, it goes back to, the commissioner can say all he wants about his plans and his hopes and whatever, but until the chancellors and the school presidents, I mean, KU had a chancellor in Burnett Grace, sorry, excuse me. So there was one, but now, it's back to the way it was. And so until your athletic directors are Black, then them hiring, a Black head coach, props to University of Virginia for hiring Coach Mox, to lead their program. And I mean, and you look at what Dawn Staley is doing. I mean, she is putting action behind her words, and she's championing, and she's an advocate, and she's trying to not just in the profession, but also for journalists.
Yeah.
She's trying to encourage and bring them along and nurture and mentor them as well. So there are Black head coaches, both on the men and women's side. It's just not as prevalent in the Big 12.
Yeah. I'm just asking questions now. Kris will tell you, I just kind of throw things out there, even if they're kind of pie in the sky. Do we need some type of Rooney Rule in our conferences? I know the answer, but I kind of want to hear your feedback.
What essentially is it going to change? They can sit here and wave a flag like, look at us. We're all about diversity. Look, we have the structure in place, but to actually make it work as it's designed or as it's hoped to be. I mean, you look at the Colts and look at Jeff Saturday. And so they can circumvent that saying, oh, wait, we can hire him. We don't have to go through the Rooney Rule protocol, if you will, because he's just interim coach. He's not the permanent coach. So we didn't really have to interview any minority candidates for that position. So you're going to bring a guy out of the broadcast booth, off of TV, to come be your interim head coach, but yet you have coaches currently in your system who played for you, but you didn't deem them worthy enough to promote them, even though they know the day-to-day operations of how this organization works and how it's run and what has happened this season and what it needs to do to get better. But you don't want to promote from within. You go get Jeff Saturday from TV. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
and a dude that's never called plays before to call plays and all the above. Go ahead, Kris.
Yeah. What would a Rooney Rule in the Big 12 really do if they don't want to change? They can find loopholes and go all around it. Won't be any enforcement of the rule, or they bring in one person for an interview. Well, we brought in a candidate.
Right.
Person was not going to get the job at all. No way in hell.
Yeah.
But we interviewed somebody,
Right.
If they don't want to change,
It's to check the box.
Right. So I knew that would be the answer. I've also, agree with you. So the statement is often made that they should hire the best person available. I want to go back to something that you said, Kennetra, that, maybe we need more Black athletic directors and what have you. But if the athletic directors that we had just did it the right way and lived by that, and instead of mouth those words, I'm going to hire the best person available, you mean to tell me there have not been any qualified, available Black candidates other than the couple that are on the men's side, none that are on the women's side, and none on the football side? That tells me more about that athletic director than it does about the candidates that are being overlooked.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, there have been Black head coaches in the Big 12, both football and men's basketball. But, it's kind of been, over a revolving door, and they're like, see, we tried.
Yeah. That's the answer. Yeah, they didn't succeed. So, what do y'all want? We hired one.
Yeah, okay. I'm on record of saying that UT will probably never have another Black head football coach. I didn't think Notre Dame would, but man, again, the young man that they have was just so beloved by the powers that be that again, he's doing a great job. I want him to do better. I feel like having to have, and again, it's not against anything that you're saying, Kennetra. We're just talking. Having to have a Black person come in to hire Black people doesn't accomplish what we need to accomplish. It's like if we get another Black owner in the NBA, we get a first Black owner in the NFL, and then they hire a Black general manager, Black coach. Well, see, they just hire in their own. But the reality is when a person who is not from that culture realizes the value of the person from another culture and gives them a fair opportunity to be as successful as possible and put the things around them to be successful, now you've got meaningful change.
Because why isn't that same argument made when the way the current situation is, the cronyism that goes on in the hiring practices?
Right.
Nobody is saying to them, well, you're just hiring your friend. You're just hiring somebody you know, somebody you have a history. Nobody's saying that. But when it comes to us, that will be the first excuse thrown out.
Yeah.
Why can't you just eliminate? Why can't you eliminate race?
Right.
Why can't you just hire the best? And I mean, define the best candidate for the job. I mean, that's subjective.
So subjective.
Because the person who's hiring, in their mind, what do they think is best?
Yeah. Go ahead, Kris.
And it also depends on these search firms that schools and organizations hire. If they don't have any diversity backbone in their organization, they're not going to seek qualified candidates who don't look like them.
Yeah.
Even though we could probably name qualified candidates of gender and race.
Yep.
And it'd be our own search firm consultants.
Yep.
That some of these schools spend way more money than they could give us with less qualified people for a job.
Sure. I mean, look at David Shaw, who just retired, as that's the word he used.
Right.
Young man, had tremendous success, but I mean, the way that Stanford is set up, with NIL, it's really hard in this new look NCAA to win at that same level and to get with their academic standards as well as NIL. I mean, it's you're taking 2 steps backward before the gun even goes off at the starting line. Right.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And he is one of the best, period. Point blank, on and off the record. I don't want to hear about wins and losses. He's one of the best.
And I mean, and if he desires to continue coaching, whether it's college level or if he wants to go back to the NFL, he should be given that fair opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where the well-respected around the league should be applied. Right now, it's being applied to people who, in my opinion, don't deserve it.
I mean, look at what Auburn just did. You're going to hire Hugh Freeze with all that baggage, and
not take any questions from the athletic director. Like I ain't answering nothing. Shut up. What? No.
But oh look, we're gonna appease you. We're gonna keep Cadillac on staff. See?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can't keep him as the head coach.
Yeah.
But okay.
and somebody said it. People will come and watch you play, but they won't trust you to lead. And I don't. Again, if it's not a thing, then why is it a thing? Why is it a thing? I don't want to hear about, well, most good players don't become good coaches. Hell, give them a shot. Just give them a fair shot, and we can see. But you pull people out of the broadcast booth and make them general managers. You pull people out of the broadcast booth and make them head coaches. You got a guy, Cliff Kingsbury, who did not win on the college level. He's been made a head coach in the NFL, and you're dogging his quarterback because this dude can't win. I don't understand. If it's not a thing, then stop making it a thing.
Yeah. One of the things I think we agree. We just want everyone to get a fair shot to succeed or fail.
Right.
Just give us the resources that you give everybody else.
Right.
And then
the
time, all those things that you'd give others, give it to us to succeed or fail.
Yeah.
That's all we're asking for.
Yeah. Well, I'm not trying to bring y'all into my latest struggle because, I like to fight them struggles. Coach Johnny Cole, former head coach of Texas Southern University, last coach to win a championship at TSU, ran into some recruitment and eligibility issues. It was originally thought that they were going to be level 1 violations and that the school could even possibly suffer the death penalty. It turned out that they were minor violations, but the former athletic director, Dr. Charles McClellan, got ahead of things and fired him. That was in 2010. 12 years later, the man still has not gotten another interview, another coordinator position, or another job. If Hugh Freeze can get a job, if Bobby Petrino can get a job, hell, if Bill Self can still be coaching without any fear, we can't give Johnny Cole another chance on any level, Division II, Division I AA, or FCS. I make it make sense. I know people who have killed folks that didn't do 12 years. I know folks have stole millions with an S of dollars and didn't do 12 years. So I mean, make it make sense for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like there's a show cause, a permanent show cause attached to him.
That's the best way to put it, because I can't make it make sense.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to irritate people. And I'm in inboxes and DMs.
Good trouble.
Athletic directors, you're going to get tired of me because I represent him. And guess what? I'm going to do my job. All right. Kennetra, thank you. You have to come back when I'm not on one. I didn't know I was going to be on one today, but I was. So promise you, come back. I'll behave myself. Tell everybody where they can find you and follow. No, before you do that, when you came out of high school and you decided UT Austin, were any considerations for HBCUs? Yes.
As my mama put it, because my mom and dad are both Prairie View grads.
Okay.
So full disclosure there. So mama said if she had to pay, I was going to Spelman.
Oh, okay.
But because I got a scholarship, I went to I applied to U of H. I did. But I just went where there was the most money, and UT offered the most, so that's how I ended up at UT.
You could have been my daughter. I hope my daughter is not listening, because she wanted to go to Spelman, and I said, if I'm paying, you go on to one of these, and she ended up over at Southern. So
and the reason why, because growing up it was like UCLA, UT, and then U of H. Those were my three schools. And then, but my dad was a JUCO basketball coach, and we would always go to Austin to the state tournament. And so the whole reason I picked, and it's like a superficial reason, whole reason I picked UT, because they serve churros at the concession stand. I'm like, sign me up. This is where I want to come to school. They got churros.
You know what? I'm so glad that you gave that. Parents, y'all ain't the only ones. There you go. Well, you chose well. I'm sorry Chris's alma mater treated you so bad. I'm sorry that they didn't respect what they could have had. You know, they would be better off if they had selected you.
Sadly, I'm not surprised. But anyway.
All right.
Now I have Mama lives in Pearland now, and I have a great affinity. My godson's father is, former assistant basketball coach at both U of H and TSU, Melvin Harrelson.
Oh, yeah. Small world.
And, yeah. So, I have no animosity towards Houston.
I'm just trying to be messy. Don't mind me.
No, I'm messy enough for all of us, so it's all good. So yeah.
First time I've been petty all year long. First time.
Yeah.
Can you tell everybody where they can find you and follow you, please?
You can find me on Twitter at Pulliams, Pulliams, and on Facebook, and don't have Instagram, but that's where I am.
On the gram? What?
I know.
But are you TikToking?
No.
Kris, help her, Kris.
I'm not going to dance on TikTok. I have yet to sing on TikTok. I might.
Have you done any cooking demos?
No, I might though.
You might need to take it to the next level, dog.
So
let me know if JM&E can start representing you, Doc. We'll get you dancing and TikToking.
Well, I'm not dancing on TikTok. No. I might bake on TikTok, but I'm not going to do any dance on TikTok. So not at all. No.
Kennetra, again, I mean it sincerely. We want to have you back soon. I hope.
My pleasure.
Yeah, you were a blessing. Kris, tell everybody where they can find you and follow you. What you got coming up?
Well, in about an hour, I'm going to interview Daryl Woods, the executive vice president of the Coaches versus Racism organization, because they have a double hitter coming up here on December 17th at Del Mar Fieldhouse. Talk to him about that. That'll be posted on my YouTube channel later on today, hopefully. And then I'll be at UH this evening for women's basketball, Cougs against UT Arlington.
Okay.
Tomorrow I'll be at Rice for Rice women against TCU. Then Saturday I'll be in Fort Worth, hopefully, for the Cougs, the number one team in the country, men's basketball.
Come on.
Houston Cougars against St. Mary's. Game will be on ESPN 2, 8:30 p.m. We'll have a post-game show, Let's Rage Cougs late night edition after that game, available on the YouTube channel. And then Sunday, I think we'll get back and do Folks Talking Sports. Willie Gibson will be on there talking from a Brown perspective about Deshaun Watson and Texans. And then probably A.D. Moore will be talking Texans on the corner as well on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. A lot going on next few days.
Yeah, we got pregame, postgame tonight, KU versus Seton Hall. 8 o'clock, Allen Fieldhouse, pregame 7:30 on ESPN Plus. And then postgame after the conclusion, say about 10, from 10 to 11 as well. 1 hour breaking down the Pirates and under first-year head coach Shaheen Holloway after leading the Peacocks of St. Peter's in the upset in the NCAA tournament. So looking forward to covering that game tonight.
All right.
And notice what she said, AJ. Post-game show, KU on ESPN Plus, right?
I did catch that.
Uh-huh.
I did catch that.
So I'm just saying to my alma mater, it can be done. It can be done. We're just doing it for you right now on Let's Rage Cougs. Oh, and also, one more thing. I was at last night's Rice Prairie View A&M men's basketball game. Post-game comments from Quincy Oliveri and Cameron Sheffield. It's on the YouTube channel. It's 5 minutes long. I had no problems with them posting a clip long to 4 minutes, but I digress.
Stop being petty. Stop being petty.
So
I'm here for the petty.
What you saying?
So I'm here for it. I love my school, but y'all need to do better.
Kris, we love you. Kennetra, we do love you. You got a new big brother. So we'll be checking you out on ESPN Plus. And please come back. I mean, please, I promise I'm going to behave. I promise.
You know where to find me.
All right, definitely. Y'all take care. We'll talk to you soon. Kris, you better say it right. Local name?
Global Perspective. Yes, sir.
All right, y'all take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
All right, y'all. You know we got to go. Freestyle Friday tomorrow. As always, let's not be divided. Let's be united. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it except tune in tomorrow for another episode of Freestyle Friday.
Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Thursday, or as I like to call it, Friday Eve, and believe it or not, December 1st, 2022. Whew, where does the year go? Number 1, for the very first time, an African American will lead a major political party in the U.S. Congress. Brooklyn Representative Hakeem Jeffries made history Wednesday as he was elected to the top leadership position among the new minority. That would be the Democrats in the House of Representatives. Tuesday night, before he was elected as her successor, the outgoing Speaker, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi, was named Speaker Emerita. The honorary title, according to the new leader Jeffries, was a token of their appreciation for her longtime service to the party. Number 2, the Senate passed bipartisan legislation to protect same-sex marriages, an extraordinary sign of shifting national politics on the issue and a measure of relief for the hundreds of thousands of same-sex couples. In an official statement from the White House, Vice President Kamala Harris wrote, "The Respect for Marriage Act ultimately stands for a simple principle. All Americans are equal and their government should treat them that way." Vice President Harris performed some of the nation's first same-sex marriages at San Francisco City Hall back in 2004. Number 3, New Jersey Democratic Governor Phil Murphy said his administration has launched a promised review of its handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. The administration hired a regional law firm along with a management consulting firm to conduct the review. The review is expected to end with a report in late 2023. Number 4, Raymond Flanks spent nearly 40 years locked up before his murder conviction was overturned. Prosecutors and defense lawyers joined together in asking for his conviction to be overturned, arguing that inconsistencies in the eyewitness testimony were kept from the jury that convicted him. According to the Innocence Project, Orleans Parish has one of the highest wrongful conviction rates in the country, with over 70% of those cases having withheld evidence. Number 5, officials outlined a new plan Tuesday to help more people experiencing severe mental illness in New York City. A directive has been issued immediately to city workers, including police, fire, EMS, and health department employees, to transport anyone having a psychiatric issue and refusing voluntary assistance to the hospital, where they will be evaluated. Officials said state law allows intervention when severe mental illness prevents an individual from meeting basic human needs. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Time is the great equalizer for all to honor. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with our wellness and mental health contributor Aprilette Russell as we discuss today's top headlines and more. To subscribe to our free daily What You Need to Know newsletter, please visit SibylWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.